Hello, friend, and welcome to the Sleepy Meteorologist. Tonight, we're gliding gently into the soft, silvery world of fog, a quiet weather wonder that drifts low to the ground and wraps the world in a whisper. It tiptoes over fields, curls around lampposts, and softens even the busiest streets until they feel like dreams. A hush falls over everything, as if the earth itself has drawn a warm blanket around its shoulders. Maybe your day has been long, filled with bright noise and sharp corners. Or maybe you're simply looking for a quiet place to rest, a little corner of the evening where you can just be. How's the sky looking where you are tonight? Any stars peeking through? Or perhaps just a soft grey veil holding everything still? If you enjoy these calming meteorology journeys, feel free to like or subscribe. It helps other sleepy wanderers find their way here. For now, you can snuggle in. Let your body get comfortable. Feel your shoulders drop, your jaw loosen, your breath grow slow. There's nothing you need to do. Just be here. Let's begin. Welcome, dear dreamer, to the quiet hour. Tonight, let us wander slowly into the mystery of fog, that soft-spoken guest of early mornings and hushed evenings, a presence as old as time, yet gentle as a sigh. Fog, you see, is not some enchanted spell, though it may feel like magic beneath lamplight. It is, quite simply, a collection of tiny water droplets, so small, so light, that they float within the air itself, drifting together in soft suspension, creating a cloud that rests upon the Earth's surface. Yes, fog is a cloud that comes to visit the ground. Where clouds linger high in the sky, fog drapes itself low, brushing rooftops, caressing quiet hillsides, curling around tree trunks like a silk scarf pulled gently over the world. But how does this cloud descend? It begins when warm, moist air, carrying invisible water vapor, meets a cooler surface, perhaps a meadow at dusk, a shaded road before sunrise, or a still lake after sunset. The warmth whispers into the coolness, and in that hush of temperature meeting temperature, the water vapor condenses, not into rain, but into countless tender droplets, softly gathering, like thoughts before sleep. And so, fog is born. It is quiet, never rushed, a slow unfolding of cloud upon ground, a mingling of air and moisture that blurs what we see, yet somehow reveals what we feel. The world becomes smaller in the fog, but also more intimate. A single lamplight becomes a glowing moon, a tree becomes a silhouette in a dream. Fog doesn't fall like rain, nor does it swirl like wind. It hovers, it lingers, it listens. In this suspended moment, the boundary between earth and sky dissolves, and in that blending, there is peace. So, when next you see fog rolling gently over a field, or hugging the edges of a sleeping town, know that you are not walking through mystery, but through a gentle meeting of warmth and coolness, of sky and land, of now and forever. Let the fog wrap around your thoughts tonight, softening the edges of your day and guiding you slowly into stillness. If you've ever wandered through a foggy morning, you've walked through a cloud. But unlike the cottony shapes that drift high above, fog prefers to stay low, near the ground, where it can brush the skin and whisper to the trees. Why does it choose this path? The answer lies in a quiet balance. When conditions are just right, when the air is moist and the ground is cool, the clouds descend. Not in a rush, not with thunder, but with a hush. This is what makes fog different from its lofty siblings. It isn't born in the sky and carried by the wind, but created near the earth itself, when the warmth of day meets the cool of night. and something soft forms in the stillness. There are places on Earth where fog visits often, along coastlines kissed by chilly seas, in valleys where air rests like a sleeping cat, and in forests where sunlight weaves through dew. Here, fog settles like a secret, wrapping homes, hills, and harbours in a gentle, silvery veil. It doesn't block the world, it reshapes it, turning headlights into halos and distant shapes into shadows. In fog, distances shorten, sounds soften, time slows. You might find yourself walking a familiar path, yet seeing it anew, as if stepping into a dream made of breath and silence. Even cities yield to fog's quiet presence. Tall buildings vanish softly, their tops hidden in a drifting shroud, as if the skyline has gone to sleep. This is fog's gift, to remind us of gentleness, to turn even a bustling world into a moment of calm. And while fog may lift with the morning sun, or drift away with a warming breeze, its memory stays in the hush it left behind, and in the quiet it gave to the world. So if you find yourself in fog's embrace, breathe deeply, walk slowly. You are moving through a cloud, one that came all the way down just to meet your feet. Not all fog is the same, though it may appear to us as a simple veil of grey, a softened hush in the morning. Fog wears many forms, each born from different dances between air, moisture, and the sleeping land. Let us drift gently through these types, as if floating on quiet currents of mist, learning how fog tells different stories, written by nature's invisible ink. There is radiation fog, a fog that blooms in silence, but we'll visit that one in just a moment. Then there is advection fog, born when warm, moist air glides over a cooler surface, like sea air brushing over cold ocean waters, or warm inland winds meeting chilled ground. The warmth gives its moisture freely, and the coolness invites it in until droplets form and the world slips into softness. By the coast, you may meet sea fog, a cousin of advection fog, formed where the ocean breathes cool and deep. It is carried ashore by gentle marine winds, trailing behind fishing boats, settling on the dunes, wrapping seagulls and seagrass in its damp, dreamy breath. Valley fog is the fog that rests like a sleepy cat in a hollow. Trapped between hills, it lies low and long, because cold air, being heavier, sinks into the valleys and lingers through dawn. Moisture collects quietly, and a soft grey lake of cloud forms where once there were roads and farms and fields. You may also encounter upslope fog, formed when moist air is lifted slowly up a hillside, cooling gently as it climbs. Not a gust, not a storm, just the breath of air rising, and the condensation that follows, settling upon mountain forests and winding trails with reverence and calm. And in the bustle of cities, there is evaporation fog, sometimes called steam fog, appearing when cold air brushes across warm lakes or rivers. The water rises to meet the sky, but cools too quickly to escape, and so it floats in place, turning the surface of the water into a realm of drifting ghosts. Each type of fog is shaped by the story of its surroundings, by the slope of a hill, the warmth of a day, the presence of the sea, the stillness of a valley. And each one whispers the same lullaby, that nature, when left to its own rhythm, creates beauty that moves slowly, softly, and always in tune with the breath of the earth. Now, let us pause to meet one of fog's gentlest forms, radiation fog, a mist made not from motion, but from quiet. It arrives when the world holds its breath, on clear, calm nights, when the stars shine undisturbed and the winds have gone to sleep. The surface of the earth begins to release its warmth like a whispered goodbye to the sun. The ground cools slowly, and so too does the layer of air just above it. If this cooling brings the air to what we call its dew point, that is, the temperature at which air can no longer hold all its invisible moisture, then something soft happens. That moisture condenses into tiny droplets, not enough to fall, not enough to rush, just enough to drift. A delicate cloud forms, settling into the lowest places: a field, a meadow, a back road, a sleeping town. Radiation fog needs stillness. It cannot form on a blustery night, nor under thick cloud cover. It needs a clear sky so the heat can slip away, and calm winds so the cooled air stays close to the earth. The result is breathtaking in its simplicity. A morning veil spread low across the land, as if the earth is still dreaming, its thoughts made visible in pale mist. You might see it pool around fences and hedges, kiss the tips of grass, or gather quietly at the base of trees, never rising high, but drifting like a memory that isn't quite ready to leave. In rural places, radiation fog can turn farmland into a sea of grey, where only the tops of barns and treetops poke through the silver surface. And as the sun rises gently, it begins to warm the land once more. The fog thins, slowly lifting, not in haste, but in harmony, until it fades into the morning light, like a dream dissolving at waking. This is radiation fog, a gift of still nights and cool earth, a moment of pause, a breath held between darkness and dawn. Let it guide you now, into your own stillness. No need to rush, no need to rise, just float and be held. There are some fogs that do not rise from stillness, but drift in like travelers on a gentle breeze. Advection fog is one such visitor, a fog of motion, not chaos. A quiet migration, not a storm. This fog forms when warm, moist air glides softly over a cooler surface. A sea, a field, a stretch of night-chilled land. The air, warmed from elsewhere, carries with it invisible droplets, like whispered thoughts floating in the sky. But then it meets the coolness below, and as it travels, the warm air begins to cool as well. Cool just enough to coax those droplets out of hiding, to gently condense them into fog. This is advection, the horizontal movement of air, a kind of slow journey across space. The fog doesn't rise, it moves in. You'll often meet advection fog along the coast, where the sea is chilled and the breeze is soft. It drifts in from the ocean like an ancient sigh, moving with the rhythm of the tides, bringing a cool hush to sleepy harbour towns and moonlit beaches. Ships at sea may disappear into it. Lighthouses blink through it with a muffled glow, and seabirds glide low through its silvery breath. Inland, this fog travels across wide, flat fields, especially in winter or early spring, when warmer air journeys over snow or cold earth. It wraps the land like a shawl, moving steadily, patiently, a fog that doesn't settle in one place, but explores. It is different from the fog born of still nights. This one arrives. It doesn't wait to form. It flows in, softly reshaping what we see, how we move, and how we feel. Advection fog may last longer than others. It stretches across hours and miles, especially when winds continue to feed it, and the ground remains cold and welcoming. And yet, there's no urgency in its presence. No sudden gusts, no heavy skies, just the slow, gliding hush of warm air meeting cool. A fog of travel, a fog of transition, a fog that carries the calm of faraway places into the quiet of your own. So, if you ever find yourself walking by the sea and feel the air grow moist and close, If you see the world soften as though breathed upon, you may be standing in the sigh of the ocean, a moment where air and earth come gently into balance. Let this drifting fog carry your thoughts tonight. Let them travel, unhurried and light, like warm air gliding across a cool and dreaming world. Now, let us wander into the valleys, low, gentle cradles in the arms of the mountains, where fog finds its favorite place to rest. Valley fog is not in a hurry. It doesn't sweep in with wind or fall from above. It settles like a soft blanket laid across the land. It forms on still, cool nights when the air above begins to chill and heavier, colder air sinks slowly into the lowlands. Because cold air is denser, it slides downward, filling valleys like water in a bowl. And if that air carries enough moisture, or if the valley is already damp with dew or stream, then fog begins to form. Not from storm, not from sea, but from the quiet breath of cold air pooling gently in a hollow of earth. You might wake in the morning to find an entire valley wrapped in a silver hush. Treetops peeking out like little islands, homes and roads and rivers hidden beneath the cloud that now sleeps on the ground. This fog is slow to leave. Because valleys hold onto the cool air, the fog lingers, sometimes into the late morning, waiting for the sun to rise high enough to stir the air, to lift the blanket and invite the warmth back in. Valley fog is found in many places, in deep river basins, mountain hollows, and quiet countryside bowls, where the land curves inward and welcomes the air to stay. It is a fog of patience, a fog of shelter, a fog that embraces the curves of the earth and sleeps within them. It doesn't travel like advection fog, nor rise from radiating heat. It is born from the quiet descent of air seeking its resting place. And when the sunlight finally arrives, it does not push the fog away. It invites it upward, lifting it slowly until shapes reappear and colour returns to the land. You might watch it happen, the soft unveiling of the morning, a branch re-emerging, a fence reappearing, a cow standing once more in view after being lost in silver silence. So when next you see a valley shrouded in mist, know that the fog is sleeping, nestled, cradled, held, and perhaps tonight you can be too. Let us now follow the shoreline, where land and sea share soft conversations. Here, you may meet a special kind of fog, one that carries the quiet breath of the ocean. Sea fog, or coastal fog, is born where cold ocean waters meet warmer, moisture-laden air, a meeting not of contrast, but of quiet balance. As the warm, damp air drifts over the chilly surface of the sea, it cools just enough for tiny water droplets to gather and linger, suspended in the air like thoughts that refuse to rise or fall. This is advection fog, too, but touched by the salt of the sea, shaped by breezes that carry its hush toward the shore. It often begins just beyond the horizon, where you cannot see it yet, forming silently over open waters. And then it drifts in, carried by the sea winds, rolling slowly over waves, moving like a tide made not of water, but of cloud. To watch sea fog arrive is to witness a curtain drawn with grace. One moment, the coast is clear, the lighthouse stands firm, the gulls glide through the air, the boats drift beneath a pale blue sky, and then a change. The horizon blurs, edges soften, the sky and the sea begin to blend. The fog comes ashore without sound, creeping over docks, curling into harbours, wrapping beach grasses in a silver breath. It clings to the coastline like the memory of waves. Sometimes it lingers, drifting inland across low-lying roads and sleepy beach towns, settling into morning routines with its own rhythm of stillness. It is cool, yes, but not cold, moist, but gentle. It dampens the light, but not the mood. You may feel it on your skin like dew. Taste the salt of it on your lips. Watch it roll past like a whispered story that began far out at sea. This is fog at its most cinematic, carried by wind, shaped by tide, forever on the move, yet never in a rush. So if you find yourself by the sea when the fog begins to arrive, pause, watch. Let it wash over you like the tide it once was, and let it remind you that even the vast ocean can exhale a sigh of softness into the waiting arms of land. Now we turn to a different kind of fog, one that rises rather than drifts. Evaporation fog, also known as steam fog, forms when cold air brushes over a warm surface, often water, but sometimes roads or fields, still warm from the sun's embrace. Picture a quiet lake in autumn, its waters still holding the memory of summer's heat, while the morning air arrives with crisp, cool breath. As the chill settles in, the warm water begins to evaporate, sending invisible moisture upward, a rising sigh from surface to sky. But the air above is too cold. It cannot hold what the water offers, and so the moisture condenses. Right there, just above the surface, tiny droplets form, and the lake begins to steam. You've likely seen it, that mysterious mist rising like breath from ponds, rivers, even pavement after a warm rain when the air suddenly turns cool. It looks like water dreaming into sky. In the early hours, it floats upward in gentle tendrils, as if the lake is exhaling slowly, thinking long and deep. Unlike valley fog or sea fog, evaporation fog doesn't settle outward, it rises. It is often fleeting, lasting only while the air remains colder than the surface. But in that brief moment, it transforms the world into something ethereal. It dances above lakes, weaves through reeds, lingers over streams in dawns, first light, like smoke from an unseen fire, not hot, but quiet. You may see it on country roads after a summer storm, when rain meets cooling air, and the asphalt seems to breathe, or above rivers in winter, where the water flows with life, while frost creeps along the banks. There is a tenderness to evaporation fog. It speaks of contrast, but also of harmony. Warmth rising, coolness holding, a meeting point between two states of being. Let it be a reminder that even when the air grows cold, the earth still holds warmth, and where the two meet, there is beauty. So, if you see the ground steaming softly beneath your feet, or the lake sending whispers into the sky, know that the world is simply breathing and inviting you to breathe with it. Close your eyes, exhale slowly, and let your own thoughts rise like steam from the stillness of your day. In the coldest hours, when winter has taken full hold, there is a fog that doesn't just drift, it transforms. This is freezing fog, a rare and delicate enchantment where the fog itself turns to ice, one feathered breath at a time. It begins like any other, moisture in the air, cooling slowly, forming tiny droplets that float, suspended, whispering their way through the quiet. But when the air dips below freezing, something else happens. The droplets do not fall, nor do they stay as mist. Instead, they touch the world and freeze upon contact. Each branch becomes a canvas, each twig, each fence post, a brushstroke of frost. The fog leaves behind not dampness, but a world glazed in crystal. You may wake to see the trees wearing lacework spun from breath. Feathers of ice reaching outward, glinting faintly in the muted light, as if winter had exhaled in slow motion and the world remembered it. This icy covering is called rime, a buildup of frozen fog droplets that gather softly, layer upon layer, forming delicate spines, like frost petals unfolding into the day. It is different from hoarfrost, which forms from vapor alone. Freezing fog touches things first, then becomes part of them. It loves quiet places, still valleys, rural hills, cold country roads in early dawn. And when wind is absent and the world is hushed, it finds its moment. Even the air feels slower in freezing fog. Breath becomes visible. Sounds grow muffled. Light diffuses into pearl. Street lamps and barn lights glow like distant stars. And movement feels like gliding through a snow globe, one gently shaken, now settling into stillness once more. Be careful, say the old tales, for this fog can leave the roads slick. But here, in this soft world of sleep, let us walk safely, slowly, marveling at the tiny miracles left behind on every surface. The fog does not rush. It settles, it lingers, it kisses and crystallizes. And when the sun eventually rises, when its light reaches through the pale sky, the world begins to sparkle. Not with urgency, but with quiet celebration. Freezing foghorn is not just a breath. It is a breath preserved, held gently, in place by winter's hand. So tonight, let your thoughts slow. Let them settle like mist. And if they touch something warm within you, let them freeze there, in the loveliest way, as a memory held in crystal silence. Now, come with me into the city, not the bustling city of honking horns and hurried steps, but the city as it appears when wrapped in a soft cocoon of fog. Urban fog drapes itself over streets and stories, filtering light, softening sound, turning corners and crossings into glimmering shadows of themselves. When fog visits a city, it transforms it from concrete and chrome to something almost mythical. Street lamps glow like lanterns in an ancient tale, their halos pulsing faintly in the grey, lighting paths, not with precision, but with poetry. Cars move like whispers, their outlines vanishing into softness, tires rolling over damp pavement that gleams like black velvet. Buildings lose their edges, the tallest towers disappear into sky, their tops consumed by drifting silver, as if the city is being slowly unspooled into cloud. Even people walk differently in fog, quieter, more thoughtful, their footsteps absorbed by the air, their movements blurred, as though walking through a dream that forgot to end. Urban fog forms in much the same way as any other when cool air and moisture embrace. But here, between skyscrapers and alleyways, it finds a special canvas. The warmth of the city from traffic, lights, and life mixes with cooler air settling in overnight. Moisture rises from rain-slicked roads, from riverbanks and open vents, and if the wind rests, the fog takes shape. It weaves itself between architecture and air, settling not just on glass and steel, but in mood, a city stilled, suspended. Sometimes the fog rolls in from the sea, blanketing coastal towns. Other times it is born within, a quiet echo of the city's own breath made visible in the early hours. And though it may delay flights or muffle alarms, urban fog never hurries. It slows. Time in the only way a city will allow. So, if you find yourself wandering a fog-draped block, let the moment unfold. Look up, watch the light bend, let the noise fall away. The city is dreaming, and for a little while, you are part of that dream, wrapped in the hush, held by the mist, moving through a world that forgets how sharp it once was. Breathe in, exhale slowly, let the fog guide you into your own shimmering stillness. There is a particular silence that comes with fog, not an absence of sound, but a softening, a quiet hush drawn like a curtain across the world. You may have noticed it, that strange sensation when a normally noisy place feels suddenly muted, as if wrapped in wool. The fog is not only something to see, it is something that touches how we hear. To understand why fog muffles sound, we must begin with what fog is. A suspended cloud of tiny water droplets floating gently in the air, so fine, so close, so quiet. These droplets scatter more than just light. They touch sound waves too. When sound travels through clear, dry air, it moves freely, vibrations spreading outward in smooth, even waves. But in fog, the story changes. Each sound wave must pass through a mist of moisture. Tiny droplets act like miniature barriers, bouncing and bending the sound's path, scattering energy in many directions. This scattering weakens the wave, not all at once, but gradually, softly. As a result, sounds in the fog feel closer. Footsteps seem to appear suddenly. Voices carry only a short distance, and what lies beyond a few meters fades into quiet mystery. It is also cooler in the fog, and cool air holds sound differently than warm. Lower temperatures slow the movement of sound waves, causing them to curve downward, staying near the ground. So instead of echoing outward and upward, sound becomes confined, a gentle pool of vibration close to the earth. This is why a foggy field may feel hushed, why the hoot of an owl seems more intimate in the mist, why a distant bell becomes a quiet chime, barely rising above the dampness of the air. In a forest, fog thickens the hush. Leaves are quieter, twigs snap with more tenderness. Even your own footsteps seem to fade into the breath of the trail. And in the city, the usual clamour grows distant. Car horns are dimmed, conversations seem private, and traffic becomes a slow-moving whisper gliding down streets of grey. This sound-dampening effect is not magic, but it feels like it. It makes the world smaller, softer, closer, as if fog is gently asking us to listen more carefully, to tune in to the subtleties, the drip of water, the flap of a bird's wings, the whisper of breath. So tonight, let the quiet carry you. Let your thoughts slow to a murmur, like voices through mist. Let silence become not absence, but presence, soft, full, and still. As we drift further into fog's quiet realm, we begin to see the world not as it is, but as it glows. Fog and light together create something rare, a soft magic that dances through the air, changing how we perceive what's near and what's far away. To understand this gentle transformation, we must look to the science of scattering. Fog, made of countless tiny droplets, acts like a vast collection of prisms, not sharp or bright, but diffused, delicate. When a beam of light passes through this suspended mist, it is bent, spread out, scattered in every direction. This is why fog appears to glow. A single street lamp in the fog becomes a radiant orb, its edges blurred, its light stretching outward in a halo of golden mist. This is called the glory or halo effect, a circle of brightness around the source, caused by light bouncing gently off the droplets and back toward our eyes in a softened echo of radiance. Car headlights, once sharp and defined, now trail faint beams through the grey, forming cones of light that reach into mystery. Flashlights form tunnels through the mist, not revealing everything, but suggesting shapes, outlines, possibility. The fog itself is not lit, but the droplets, touched by light, reflect it toward us in soft, scattered streams. This is why fog hides and reveals all at once, why a shape in the distance may dissolve, while a nearby glow shines too brightly to stare into. It plays with contrast, not darkness and light, but soft and softer still. You may even witness fog bows, rare and pale cousins to rainbows, created when sunlight bends through fog's fine droplets. No vivid colours, just faint white arcs, ghostly bridges across grey skies. And though fog dims the day, it deepens the mystery of night. In fog, even familiar places feel transformed. Light takes on texture, shadows grow kind, and everything glows from within, as if lit by memory rather than electricity. So let the lamps of your own thoughts glow tonight, gently scattering their warmth, not sharply, but softly, into the mist of your mind. You are not lost in the fog. You are illuminated by it. And somewhere out there, in a field, on a street, by a window, a single light glows in the mist, just for you. Some say fog is silent. Some say it is grey, but fewer speak of its scent. And yet, fog carries one of the oldest fragrances known to Earth. Close your eyes. Breathe in. What does fog smell like? It is the scent of soil, of leaves not yet dry, of rain that hasn't fallen, but already lingers in the air. It is petrichor, the earthy aroma released when moisture touches dry ground. That beloved smell after rain. Fog holds a version of it, subtler, softer, a whisper instead of a shout. Fog doesn't pour water down. It delivers moisture with restraint, drop by drop, drift by drift, settling on moss and bark, reviving the breath of wood and root. Walk through fog in the forest, and you will smell time. The earth releases its quiet stories, wrapped in the scent of fallen leaves, of pine resin and decomposing mulch, of stones just beginning to sweat. There is a dampness to fog, but not the chill of storm. Is a kind damp, one that carries the memory of clouds, now resting low on the land. And in cities, fog draws out the scent of rain-soaked concrete, of distant smoke from chimneys, of wet pavement cooling under the softness of sky. You might smell morning baking in someone's kitchen, or leaves warming under the fog's weight, steam rising from a river bend, blended with rustling trees and frost. Fog collects and carries the air's essence. It makes smells closer, more intimate, because fog holds moisture, and moisture is the keeper of scent. Even the breeze moves differently in fog. It doesn't sweep, it curls around corners, delivering smells like lullabies. In this way, the smell of fog is not just one thing. It is everything, softened, blended, aged by silence. Tonight, imagine breathing that in, a world steeped in ancient fragrance, as though the planet itself is remembering something it forgot to tell you. And now, through scent, it gently reminds you. Fog is more than mist. It is breath, and in every breath it carries, there is life. Now, let us drift into one of fog's quietest wonders, so faint you might miss it, but so magical it feels like a secret. Fog bows, also called white rainbows. These rare, delicate arcs appear when sunlight meets fog just so. They form like traditional rainbows, light entering water droplets, bending and bouncing, emerging as a bow across the sky. But fog's droplets are smaller, far smaller than raindrops. So small, they scatter the light in a gentler way, softening it into something pale and ghost-like. The result? A rainbow, without colour, an arc of white or grey, sometimes with the faintest hints of pink or blue near its edges, but often glowing in pearlescent stillness. A fog bow doesn't shout its presence. It whispers. You must be at just the right angle, with the sun behind you and the fog ahead, to see it stretch across the haze. It often forms over oceans, meadows, or mountain passes, where early sunlight and lingering fog meet in quiet embrace. To see one is to stand in a moment suspended between clarity and mystery. Unlike a rainbow, which feels distant, a thing in the far sky, a fog bow can feel close, like a portal drawn in mist within arm's reach. It is ephemeral, fleeting. If the sun rises higher or the fog begins to lift, the bow dissolves as gently as it came. And yet, for a moment, you see it, a white arc spanning the fog, framed by softness, outlined in silence. Some call it a ghost rainbow, but there is nothing to fear. It is a gift of light and water, of angle and chance, of science and serenity combined. It reminds us that not all beauty is bold. Not all magic needs colour. So, if you ever find yourself in a fog with the sun at your back, look ahead. There may be a fog bow waiting, a silent arc drawn by sunlight through mist, meant only for you. Let it guide your dreams tonight, an invisible compass in the clouds, pointing not north, but inward, to peace, to wonder, to light made quiet. Fog is peaceful, yes, but also powerful in its softness. It changes how we see, and sometimes how we move. In its densest form, fog becomes more than a dream to walk through. It becomes a veil, one that lowers not just light, but visibility. Dense fog can appear suddenly, especially during the early morning hours or after sundown, when the temperature shifts just enough to let moisture bloom into mist. And in these moments, the horizon vanishes. Landmarks disappear. The familiar fades into pale silhouettes. You might not even notice the change at first, until the road ahead dissolves, and the world becomes only what is right in front of you. This is why we speak gently of fog's quiet risks. It affects travel, not with force, but with absence. The absence of clarity, of distance, of outlines. For drivers, dense fog can be disorienting. Headlights reflect off droplets, creating a white wall of brightness. The road narrows to a ribbon, curving into the unknown. Pilots and sailors, too, respect the fog. Navigation becomes an act of trust, of instruments and stillness, of moving without seeing. But let us not approach this with fear. Let us meet it with understanding. Nature does not warn with alarm bells. It teaches with subtlety. Fog reminds us to slow down, to listen more, to move with care and attention. Even animals adjust. Birds call more frequently in low visibility conditions, and deer pause longer before crossing open fields. The key is presence. In fog, the world becomes smaller, but also closer. What you can see, you must truly see. What you hear, you must truly hear. And when fog begins to lift, it does so gradually, allowing the world to return in soft pieces, tree by tree, fence by fence, light by light. So, if ever you find yourself surrounded by thick fog, let it be an invitation to move slowly, to trust deeply, and to dwell only in the space just ahead. Not all danger is loud. Sometimes it is wrapped in softness. And, even then, we can meet it with gentleness. Fog is more than atmosphere, more than a curtain, more than a mood. It is a lifeline. In many places around the world, fog plays a quiet yet vital role in supporting the balance of ecosystems, sustaining life where rain does not fall and rivers do not flow. In deserts, for instance, yes, even deserts, fog is a hidden river in the sky. On the coast of Chile and Peru, and along the dry edges of Namibia, fog condenses on cactus spines, on rocks, on special mesh nets stretched like spiderwebs, gathering precious droplets that slide downward, feeding roots and quenching thirst. Certain beetles and birds have adapted to harvest fog, perching quietly and letting the mist soak their feathers or shells, drinking from themselves when the world around them offers no other water. In cloud forests, those high tropical sanctuaries nestled in the mountains. Fog is not rare. It is constant. Here, fog drapes the canopy like a second sky, dripping onto mosses, nurturing ferns and orchids that cling to every limb. Plants in these forests have learned to sip from the fog, drawing moisture not just from their roots, but from their leaves. In the Pacific Northwest, towering redwoods stand tall and silent, yet they too rely on fog, absorbing its moisture through their needles, feeding entire ecosystems below with the water that falls from their limbs. Even fungi thrive in the softness of fog, spreading through damp leaf litter, breaking down the old to make way for the new. In this way, fog is not just weather. It is water. It is life. It is the breath of the landscape. And it comes quietly, not as rain from storms, but as tenderness from the air. So, as you sleep tonight, know that somewhere, in a silent desert or a shrouded forest, fog is working, feeding moss, quenching roots, carrying life where none was visible. In mist, there is abundance. In fog, there is care. There are places on earth where water does not fall from the sky in loud applause, but arrives in whispers, carried by fog. In these regions, people have learned to listen. They have become fog collectors, harvesters of the sky's breath, drawing water from the quiet mist. It is not a new practice. For centuries, in arid lands along coasts and cliffs, communities have found ways to gather water from what appears to be empty air. And how do they do this? With patience and with nets. Fine meshed structures, stretched like sails across the land, stand silently in the path of morning fog. As the mist drifts through, droplets gather on thin threads, tiny beads of moisture clinging, sliding, falling into channels below, collected in tanks drop by drop. Each net, sometimes called a fog catcher, may yield liters of water in a single night, all drawn from air too dry for rain. In places like the Atacama Desert of Chile, one of the driest landscapes on Earth, villages use fog catchers to nourish crops, quench thirst, and green the edges of golden hills. The technology is simple, yet quietly elegant. A net, a breeze, and a gift from the mist. In Morocco's coastal mountains, fog harvesting has brought water to remote Berber communities. And in Peru, engineers blend tradition with science, designing fog collection systems that echo ancient knowledge with modern care. Even in cities, people are experimenting, attaching fog catchers to rooftops, turning high-rise balconies into sky gardens. It is a partnership between humans and atmosphere. One that does not demand but receives. A dream of sustainability woven into fabric that drinks the sky. And though fog collecting may seem like magic, it is rooted in science. Condensation, surface tension, airflow, all working together to turn vapor into life. But it is also something more. It is an act of trust, trusting that nature, even in its quietest forms, will provide. That we can live with the rhythm of the mist, and not just wait for the roar of rain. So as you drift into rest tonight, imagine these nets billowing softly, high above desert floors or coastal ridges, pulling threads of water from the air. Each droplet a gift, each thread a bridge between sky and earth, between hope and hydration. Even in the driest places, fog brings enough. Let us rise now, gently, slowly, into the highlands. There is a place where fog lives close to the skin of the earth, where it doesn't just visit, but stays. Mountain fog. Here, in ranges and ridgelines, fog moves like wool, thick and soft, drifting between peaks, catching on branches, falling into valleys. These fogs form when moist air is lifted up the slopes, rising with the terrain, cooling as it climbs. And in that cooling, condensation begins. This is orographic fog, born of elevation, shaped by the mountain's hand. It hugs the land closely, flowing over trails and cliffs, filling hollows and saddles, wrapping ridges in grey. From below, you might see the mountains vanish, summits swallowed in silver cloud. From above, you may walk through sunshine, then descend into mist as if stepping through layers of a dream. In mountain villages, fog is a daily visitor. It curls through narrow streets, kisses the roofs, and turns morning routines into gentle rituals. Shepherds and hikers know its rhythm. They watch the fog move, rolling in the early hours, pulling back with the rising sun, then returning again as evening cools the land. Mountain fog feeds moss and lichen, soaks into alpine soil, nourishes trees whose roots cling to the rocks as the sky slips past their leaves. Birdsong softens here, footsteps disappear in damp earth, and time, as always in fog, slows. Even animals adapt. Mountain goats and bears navigate the softened world with instincts attuned to the quiet pulse of the air. And in these high places, fog becomes more than weather. It becomes part of the mountain's breath. An exhale held just above the forest, a pause stretched across the peaks. If you've ever stood at a summit and watched the clouds drift beneath you, you've glimpsed a sea of fog filling the valleys like water in a bowl. The world below hidden, the world above hushed. So tonight, imagine you are resting in a cabin on the mountainside, wrapped in wool, watching fog curl at the window. Let your thoughts wander with it, not hurriedly, but with the patience of mist that has nowhere to be and all the time to drift. Step with me now into the woods, not in daylight, but in the hush of a fog-laced morning. Here, in the forest, fog arrives not with drama, but with grace. It settles low and lingers high, curling around tree trunks, drifting softly through the canopy. A slow exhale held between the leaves. Visibility changes, the world narrows, but somehow it opens too, inviting you into a more intimate space, where every sound is closer, every shape more mysterious. You may notice how the trees reveal themselves gradually, not all at once, but branch by branch, as though stepping forward shyly from behind a pale curtain. First, the silhouette of a fir, then the twist of a birch limb, then a patch of moss glowing softly on the damp side of a trunk. The forest in fog is a world remade, not by changing what is there, but by changing how it appears. Every beam of light is muted, scattered into pearls across the underbrush. Raindrops from the night before hang from needles and leaves, glistening with the faintest glow. And the sound, it is hushed. Bird calls are softer, footfalls disappear. Even the wind seems to whisper in a voice made of clouds. This is radiation fog, or valley fog, depending on the shape of the land. It forms when cool air settles into low places, and the trees, warm from the day, release just enough moisture to birth a cloud on the forest floor. The result is enchantment. Ferns seem ancient under the mist. Mushrooms appear like tiny lanterns along the path. Spiderwebs catch the dew and stretch like silver threads through the understory. And though fog often lifts with the sun, in dense forests it may linger longer, held in the canopy, dripping slowly, feeding roots and life below. For the forest, fog is not just a mood, it is nourishment. It keeps the soil moist, the moss is lush, the air gentle. So walk softly here. Let the fog guide you, not through distance, but through presence. Breathe in the wood and water. Let the trees emerge around you, and know that you are walking through a painting still being revealed. In the forest, fog does not hide the world. It teaches you how to see it more slowly. Now, let us return to the city, not in its noise and motion, but at night, when fog has softened everything. There's a beauty to cities wrapped in mist, a quiet transformation that takes place when day ends, and the fog moves in under the glow of streetlights. This is the city's bedtime story. Lampposts shimmer with halos, light caught in droplets, scattered in circles of gold and pearl. Each one becomes a sun of its own, floating in the grey. Crosswalks glow beneath your feet, edges softened, stripes blurred, like a dream you're walking through. Neon signs pulse gently, colours diffused into watercolour skies. What once was sharp, billboards, windows, traffic lights, now blends into the quiet of the air. Urban fog forms just like its countryside cousin, but with help from the city's warmth. It drifts in from rivers or oceans, or rises when rain and warmth meet cool night air trapped between buildings. And once it arrives, the city slows. Sound seems to hush. Tires whisper along the pavement. Conversations stay close. Even footsteps seem to fall more gently on fog-dampened streets. People pause. Some glance upward at the glowing haze. Others disappear into it, becoming silhouettes in the softness. This is fog not just as weather, but as mood. It brings stillness to places known for motion, invites reflection in a place built on speed. A car passes under a bridge. Its taillights dissolve into trailing embers. A cyclist glides by, light on their helmet flashing through silver air. Even buildings disappear, the skyline hidden behind a veil of breath. From above, the city looks like a sleeping constellation. Lights scattered beneath a cloud, and within it all, the fog listens. It doesn't stay forever. The breeze may rise, the temperature may shift, but while it lingers, everything is transformed. So tonight, imagine walking through your own city, late at night, wrapped in mist. Let the glow surround you. Let the echoes soften. Let the city become not a place to go, but a place to be. And know that even in a world of concrete and neon, fog finds a way to bring softness, to make space for wonder in the most unexpected places. What does it mean to see, or not see, through fog? Visibility, a word we often hear in weather reports, attached to numbers, miles, kilometres, measured in distance, but felt much closer. In fog, visibility changes, sometimes subtly, sometimes completely. To understand why, we must step into the gentle realm of light scattering. Fog is made of tiny water droplets, suspended in the air, hundreds of them in every breath you take. Each droplet, though microscopic, can scatter the light that passes through it. When sunlight, or headlights, or the golden beam of a lamp post touches a fog droplet, that light is scattered in many directions. It spreads and diffuses, rather than travelling in a straight line. The more droplets there are, and the closer together they hang, the more the light is broken up, not harshly, but delicately, like beams scattered through crystal. And so, our eyes no longer receive clear, direct signals. Objects in the distance begin to fade, edges blur, contrast softens. This is how visibility is reduced. You may stand on a path and see clearly for only a few feet ahead. Beyond that, the world melts into softness. The meteorological term dense fog is used when visibility drops below 200 meters, or even less than 50, in the thickest blankets. But here, in our sleepy drift through knowledge, let's not think in numbers. Let's think in feelings. Fog brings the horizon closer. It gathers the world around you. It asks you to stay present, to move not with long strides, but short, attentive ones. Pilots and drivers rely on instruments when human eyes can no longer guide. Ships use sonar and slow their pace, letting sound take the lead where sight no longer reaches. Even wildlife responds. Birds circle lower, foxes and deer remain still, listening for what they cannot see. In fog, we learn that vision isn't just what our eyes perceive. It's how we sense the space around us, how we slow down, trust the moment, and find comfort in the softened outline of the world. So, the next time you find yourself wrapped in fog's gentle veil, remember this: what you see may be reduced, but what you feel becomes sharper. Let that guide you as you close your eyes tonight, and drift inward through a world of glowing mist and softened edges. Tonight, let us step back in time, not through thunder or storm, but into the quietest extremes of weather's story. We drift now into the thickest fogs ever recorded, where visibility vanished almost entirely, and people moved through the world as if in a dream. Though fog is often gentle, sometimes it becomes deeply dense, a concentration of droplets so fine, so close together, that even your outstretched hand seems to fade away. One such moment occurred in London, 1952, during what became known as the Great Smog. It was not fog alone, but a mixture of mist and coal smoke, stirred by cold air, held in place by a weather pattern that refused to move. Visibility dropped to mere feet, sometimes less. Buses stopped, trains halted, people linked arms to walk, listening for footsteps, searching for lamplight that no longer pierced the haze. Though that event carries a somber shadow in history, let us honour it quietly as a reminder of fog's power and the changes it has inspired. Elsewhere in the world, fog has brought beauty even in its deepest forms. In Newfoundland, on Canada's eastern edge, fog drifts in from the Atlantic for over 200 days a year. It can become so dense that coastal villages glow with the dimmest shimmer, lighthouses blinking into pale nothingness. Fishermen recall days when the sea vanished beneath their boats, not dangerous in tone, but reverent. And in San Francisco, the famous fog, known as Carl, rolls in thick and slow, blanketing bridges, swallowing hills, making a sculpture of the sky. There are moments when even cities disappear, wrapped entirely in cloud. And yet, in each of these instances, life adapts. People walk slower, lights are turned on, and quiet becomes the dominant sound. The thickest fogs do not roar, they descend, they hush. They remind us that there is value in slowing down, even when the world seems hidden. So let's drift with them, through history, through cloud, through stories told in pale grey, and let them guide us gently to the understanding that even in life's softest moments, there is depth. And even in the thickest fog, there is still a way forward. When the fog descends and the world grows dim, you might wonder, how do the creatures of the earth find their way? They do not panic, they do not fear, they simply adapt. Many animals have lived alongside fog for generations beyond memory. They have learned its patterns, its whispers, its softness. Let us begin with birds. In a clear sky, birds navigate by sunlight and stars, by magnetic fields and subtle wind patterns. But in fog, their journey shifts. Some choose to wait, resting on branches or rooftops, letting the mist pass before they resume flight. Others fly low, following the shapes of the land, gliding just above tree lines or over still lakes, listening more carefully than they do in clear skies. Then, there are birds who speak more often in the fog, sending out calls and chirps, echoes to keep in touch with their flock. They do not see far, but they remain close. Bats, those nighttime navigators, are unfazed by fog. They rely not on sight, but on echolocation, sending out high-frequency sounds and listening to the way the world responds. Even in dense mist, they can sense a wall, a tree, a tiny insect mid-air. Fog, to them, is only texture, a shift in the soundscape, not a threat. Deer and foxes, moving through foggy woods, lower their pace. They pause more often, ears perked, listening for twigs snapping or leaves rustling. They may not see far, but they feel the air. Even small insects, like moths and beetles, adjust their behavior, drawing closer to the earth, resting under leaves, letting the dew of fog cool their wings. In the ocean, seals and dolphins rely on sound, not sight. They swim through fog as they swim through night, using clicks and calls, reading the rhythm of waves. And so we learn that in fog, vision is not the only way forward. There are other senses, more ancient, more intuitive. Animals do not rush through fog. They do not resist it. They listen, they wait, they move when the time is right. Perhaps we, too, can learn from their stillness. So, as you settle in tonight, let your own senses rest. You do not need to see clearly to find your way. You only need to trust that the world continues to move, softly, steadily, even in the mist. Now, come with me to the water's edge, a coast swallowed in mist, where the waves roll slow and the sky blends into the sea. Here we listen, not for birds or breeze, but for the deep, gentle voice of the foghorn. That low, echoing call drifting across the bay is not a warning, but a lullaby. Foghorns were born out of kindness, a signal sent across low-visibility seas to guide sailors home, to speak through the silence when light could no longer lead. The earliest foghorns were bells, rung by hand from lighthouses or small boats. Later, they became whistles, then horns powered by steam, by air, by electricity. But no matter how they sound, they all carry the same message. You are not alone. There is still a way. The sound of a foghorn travels far, not sharply, but smoothly, rolling with the moisture in the air. Fog actually helps carry the sound, amplifying its reach, bending it gently along the coastlines. It moves slowly through the mist, washing over cliffs and harbours, resonating in the chest like a deep breath drawn across time. For sailors, it is comfort. For lighthouse keepers, it is rhythm. And for those who stand on the shore in the early morning hours, wrapped in scarves and fog, the sound becomes something else entirely. A voice not quite human, not quite machine, calling across the invisible sea. Each horn has its own timing, its own tone, its own signature. Some pulse with long pauses between, others hum low and steady, marking channels, guarding harbours, echoing between waves and sky. In sleep, we too drift like ships, and so the foghorn becomes our guide. Even from afar, a sound so soft, so deep, it seems to call from beneath the surface of our dreams. It says, go slowly, move mindfully. The way is still there, even if you cannot see it. Let that sound follow you into rest tonight. Let it echo softly across your thoughts. And know that, like the sailor in the mist, you are held, you are guided, and you are never truly lost. Far from land, where waves speak in slow rhythms, and the sky seems stitched to the sea, there lives a fog that has no hurry. This is maritime fog, formed where warm, moist air meets the cool, endless surface of the ocean. It drifts, not with urgency, but with grace. Unlike the fogs that curl through valleys or cling to cities, ocean fog wanders. It stretches over water for miles, as if the sea itself had risen to greet the sky halfway. It often begins in the night, when the air is still and the surface of the sea breathes upward, or in the early morning, when temperature layers shift and mist begins to form in the quiet space between tide and time. On the Kiuha deck of a ship, this fog feels like a presence. It surrounds without weight, cool on the skin, close on the breath. The horizon fades, the line between water and sky erased. The world becomes a muted dome, bound by softness. Mariners have long known this fog. It moves across shipping lanes, drifts over harbours, wraps lighthouses in silver breath. It is most common along cold ocean currents, in places like the Grand Banks off Newfoundland, or the Pacific coasts near Alaska and Chile. There, the fog moves like a ghost tide, always present, always shifting. Sailors rely on sound when vision disappears. The creak of a rope, the bell of a buoy, the low moan of a foghorn. Birds fly low over the waves, skimming the surface like whispers. Even whales adjust their song paths, letting sound guide them through the unseen. And yet, in the heart of this fog, there is no fear, only stillness. You might sit quietly at the bow, wrapped in a blanket, listening to the gentle lap of water against hull, watching droplets gather on the railing. It is a kind of floating meditation, a voyage through cloud and current, where every direction looks the same, and every breath feels deep. Fog over the ocean reminds us that we do not always need to see where we are going. Sometimes it is enough to drift and to trust. So tonight, let yourself become the ship. Let the fog wrap around your thoughts. Let the sea rock you gently. And know that, even surrounded by mist, you are always moving forward. Now, let us turn toward a place where we might not expect fog at all: the desert. Endless sand, heat and silence, a land of sharp light and shadow. And yet, even here, fog arrives. In the early morning hours, before the sun climbs over the dunes, a cool mist drifts in from the sea. It rides the breeze like a whispered arrival, softening the sharp edges of sand and offering moisture where there is none. This is the miracle of desert fog. One of the most wondrous examples is the Namib Desert in southwestern Africa, one of the oldest and driest deserts on Earth. Here, the cold Benguela Current flows offshore, and when warm air from the inland meets this chill, a fog is born. It rolls inland for miles, carried on marine winds, spilling into the dunes like milk into bowls of gold. In this quiet, fog-laced landscape, life has learned to adapt. The fog beetle, for instance, climbs to the top of sand ridges and angles its body just right, letting the fog condense and roll in droplets down into its mouth. Spiders build webs in the early morning to catch the mist. Desert plants stretch thin leaves into the air, designed not for rainfall, but for fogfall. Even lichens, tiny organisms that cling to rocks, drink from the morning mist. There is no rush here, just slow sipping, a world surviving on softness. This fog doesn't drench, it doesn't pour, but its presence is enough to sustain an entire ecosystem of quiet, clever life. It may last only a few hours, burned away by the rising sun, but for those who rely on it, that short visit is a blessing. Even the dunes seem to breathe beneath it, cooled and hushed, their ripples softened by moisture. Desert fog reminds us that even in the most barren places, hope can arrive carried on a breeze. It speaks not in floods, but in drops, not in thunder, but in mist. So tonight, Let your breath be like desert fog, calm, slow, precious, and know that even in the driest corners of your mind, there is room for soft arrival. Have you ever stood in the fog and felt the clock slow? In the presence of mist, time changes. It doesn't stop, but it softens. Minutes feel longer, but not in a way that weighs you down. Rather, they stretch, expanding like breath held just a little longer, like a pause in a conversation that invites reflection. In fog, the landscape narrows. What's far away disappears, and what's near comes closer. This change in visibility brings with it a shift in perception, not just of space, but of time. Without a horizon to anchor us, without the usual landmarks of our daily hours, we feel unmoored, not lost, but drifting. And in that drifting, we begin to move more slowly. People walk differently in fog. Their strides shorten, their pace calms. Even traffic hums with less urgency. The world seems to hold its breath, and we do the same. Psychologists have studied how fog and low visibility can cause the brain to estimate time differently. When the environment becomes quieter, less defined, our internal sense of duration stretches. A walk through mist may feel longer than the same walk on a clear day, not because it takes more time, but because our senses are more attuned. We notice more, we feel more, we slow down enough to be present, and memory too takes on a haze. Many people describe foggy days as dreamlike, moments wrapped in softness, stored in the mind like faded photographs, tinged with silver and silence. You may remember the scent of pine, or the glow of a lamp in the mist, or the way a figure appeared, then vanished as if time itself had blinked. In literature, fog is often used to symbolize memory, or forgetfulness, or the in-between. But perhaps it is not forgetfulness. Perhaps it is reverence. Fog does not erase. It slows. It asks us to be here with no rush, no deadline. So, as you rest tonight, let your own sense of time unwind. Let the hours dissolve into moments, and the moments stretch into stillness. You are in no hurry. The world will wait. And in the quiet mist of your imagination, time moves exactly as it should. Before we had forecasts, before we understood droplets and dew points, we had stories. And fog, mysterious, shifting, silent, has always been rich with meaning. In many cultures, fog is the veil between worlds. To the ancient Celts, fog was a sign of magic. It rolled across moors and valleys, not just as weather, but as a threshold, a way the spirit world brushed against our own. Travelers lost in the mist might find themselves in strange lands or encounter the fair folk, elusive beings cloaked in mystery and cloud. In Japanese mythology, mist is associated with kami, spirits of nature. Mountains wrapped in fog are believed to be sacred, their peaks hidden to protect the divine. To see them clearly is a gift, but to see them in fog is a sign of their presence. On the open sea, ancient sailors feared and revered fog. To them, it was a breath from the gods, a test of patience, or a message to turn back. Some believed that fog concealed sea monsters, or that it carried the voices of the lost. But not all stories are warnings. In poetry, fog has long been the language of longing, of mystery, of the heart's hidden places. Chinese poets wrote of fog drifting through mountains, symbolizing solitude and reflection. Romantic poets in Europe described morning mist as the cloak of dreams, where reality softens and truth is felt, not seen. Even in children's stories, fog is the moment just before discovery, a curtain about to lift. It makes the world feel enchanted. Because fog hides what is familiar, and invites us to imagine what lies beyond. And in many spiritual traditions, fog is a metaphor, a place between clarity and confusion, a symbol of transition, of waiting, of awakening. It is not the storm, nor the calm after. It is the space between. And in that space, transformation happens. So, as you fall into sleep tonight, let these old stories drift around you like mist across the mountains. Feel the softness of the unknown, the promise of something just out of sight. You are not lost. You are in the fog, the place where all journeys begin and all stories deepen. Fog does not just belong to the world of weather. It lives also in the world of imagination. Directors, painters, poets, they all know the secret, that fog can turn the ordinary into something unforgettable. Let us begin in the cinema. When fog rolls across the screen, it brings more than visual softness. It brings mood. In the golden age of film noir, fog wrapped alleyways in mystery, framing shadowy figures and whispered dialogues. It blurred the line between truth and illusion, between danger and desire. In more tender films, fog becomes memory, a seaside town in early morning mist, a train station at a twilight, moments suspended as if time itself has held its breath. Directors use fog not only to hide, but to invite. It draws the eye inward, slows the pacing, makes the viewer feel that something is just beyond the frame. In painting, fog has long been a favourite of the Romantics. Turner, Whistler, Monet. These artists used mist not as background, but as subject. A ship in the fog, a bridge dissolving into cloud, a field of soft grey brushstrokes where sky and earth blur. Fog allows the canvas to breathe. It asks the viewer not to see everything at once, but to step forward gently into suggestion. In Japanese inkwash painting, fog is created with negative space, the absence of ink. It is what is not painted that becomes the atmosphere. In poetry, too, fog has found its home. You may recall the soft lines of Carl Sandburg. The fog comes on little cat feet, a perfect image, quiet, tender, curious. Poets use fog to speak of mystery, of change, of things not yet understood. It is the metaphor of waiting, of wandering, of waking. In every art form, fog is not simply decoration. It is a character, a force, a gentle presence that changes how we feel. It makes light glow. It muffles sound. It gives space for emotion to unfold. So, as you rest tonight, let your thoughts become like a film scene, a painting, a stanza. Picture a foggy landscape, one lamp glowing in the distance, one path vanishing into grey. There is no need to see the end. Let the mood carry you. Let the mist be part of the story you're still telling yourself. Now, let us rise, not quickly, not with alarm, but with the slow unfolding of morning. We step into the final part of fog's rhythm, its retreat. In the early hours, fog rests upon the land like a sleeping blanket, cool, soft, unhurried. This is the cold breath of dawn, a moment when fog is fullest and light begins to stir. You may look out your window to see the world bathed in silver. Trees become outlines, grass holds beads of water, and rooftops wear veils of grey. There is a hush, even the birds wait. This fog formed in the night, born from cooling ground and still air. It settled gently, tucking into valleys, drifting over fields, pooling along rivers and lakes. But now, with the first blush of sunlight, something begins to change. The air warms, the droplets begin to loosen their hold, and one by one, the shapes of the world return. A fence appears, a branch reveals its colour. The mist thins, not in a rush, but like breath exhaled after a long dream. This is fog's daily rhythm. to arrive quietly, to linger without asking, and to lift when the time is right. It is not pushed away. It simply rises, letting the morning take its place. By mid-morning, the fog may be gone entirely, leaving behind dew on petals, softness on your skin, a memory in the air. And yet, even in its absence, it leaves something behind, a gentleness, a softened start, a slower opening to the day. So, as you rest now, imagine this next dawn, cool fog outside your window, the world still blurred, the sun not yet high. Let your breath match that rhythm. In, out, lift, let go. Fog does not rush to leave. It drifts away with grace. And as it does, it leaves the world calmer than it found it. Fog, though quiet, plays a role in the great balance of Earth. It is not loud like storms, nor bold like lightning, but it is part of the planet's rhythm, a soft thread in the fabric of climate. You may have seen fog drift across a field, over a hillside, between trees, but above oceans, coasts, and mountain ranges, fog also touches the global system. It begins with light, the sun's energy, streaming down each day. Some of that sunlight warms the land, feeds, the oceans, lingers in leaves. But fog, with its millions of tiny droplets, reflects sunlight. Not aggressively, but gently. It scatters light back into the sky, reducing heat near the surface. This is called albedo, the measure of how much light a surface reflects. Fog, like clouds, has a high albedo. It helps to cool the earth by bouncing sunlight away, even as it lies low and quiet. And then there's the moisture. Fog carries latent heat, the invisible energy held in water vapor. As fog forms, water condenses into droplets, releasing a trace of warmth into the air. Not enough to change a day, but enough to balance. And when fog lifts, that moisture doesn't vanish. It becomes part of the ecosystem, feeding soil, cooling leaves, softening the air. In coastal forests, fog provides moisture through fog drip, droplets that gather on branches and fall like gentle rain. This subtle watering helps sustain entire regions of plant and animal life, even in dry seasons. In a changing climate, these cooling, moistening effects are more important than ever. Less fog in fog-dependent ecosystems can mean more heat, more drought, less balance. So scientists watch fog not just as a beautiful phenomenon, but as a climate participant, a quiet guardian of equilibrium. Its role may be small, but it is persistent. Fog does not shout its importance. It breathes it, and we, in turn, can honor it by noticing. So, as you close your eyes tonight, picture the mist stretching across a coastline, bouncing light, nourishing trees, cooling the breath of the earth. It is not just lovely, it is essential. And like all the best things in nature, its power lies in its softness. As the climate shifts and old sources grow scarce, we look once more to the sky, not to the storm, but to the fog. Scientists and dreamers alike are turning to fog catchers, nets and mesh and quiet structures that harvest mist and turn it into water. The idea is simple. Where fog moves through, let it leave something behind. Suspended droplets cling to the fine threads, slide down like tears on silk, and gather in containers below. No pumps, no pollution, just the breeze and time. In places like Chile, Morocco, Ethiopia, and Peru, these fog catchers are already at work, watering school gardens, filling tanks for villages, greening the edges of deserts. The materials are light, the design is minimal, but the impact is hopeful. Even cities are exploring new versions, blending art and science, placing fog harvesting walls on rooftops, balconies, green spaces in need. And as technology grows more efficient, so too does the promise. Fog catchers require no electricity. They produce no waste. They ask only that we wait for the mist and welcome what it offers. This kind of thinking, this soft innovation, is part of a gentler future, one where we don't force the world to yield to us, but rather we meet it where it already is. A sustainable future does not need to be loud. It can come on cat feet, like fog. Harvesting water from air feels like magic. But it's science, it's tradition, it's listening to what nature already does, and learning how to catch its kindness. So as you drift to sleep, picture a field of fog catchers swaying in the breeze, each one a net for tomorrow, gathering moisture, gathering peace. We are not alone in our need, and the air around us holds more than we know. In fog, there is a future, quiet, soft, and filled with water. There is a hush to fog that invites something deeper, not just observation, but acceptance. Acceptance of not knowing, of not seeing, of letting go. Fog reminds us that the world does not need to be fully revealed to be fully beautiful. When we walk into a fog-draped landscape, we are no longer surrounded by detail. Edges blur, colours mute, landmarks disappear. And in that loss of definition, something opens, the unknown. So often, we rush to understand, to map, to define, to measure. But fog, in its softness, invites us to pause instead, to dwell in the not quite yet, to trust what we cannot see. There is poetry here, not just in words, but in feeling, the kind of poetry that lives in mystery, in curiosity without answers, in wonder without urgency. Writers have long turned to fog to express this feeling, of drifting between one world and another, of letting the future approach in its own time, shrouded in silver grace. Fog is not absence. It is presence undefined. It is a veil, not a wall, a soft reminder that we are always on the edge of discovering more. And sometimes the beauty lies in not yet knowing. We listen more closely in fog. We move more mindfully, and the mind, freed from its need to predict, begins to rest. So tonight, let go of what you can't yet see. Let it be all right to not have answers. Let the mist wrap around the questions and keep them warm a while longer. There is poetry in trusting the unseen, in believing that what is hidden is not lost, just waiting. And in that waiting, we can find peace. Some people sleep best when the fog rolls in. They don't always know why. They just feel it, that shift in the air, that dampened sound, that gentle dimming of the world. Fog is more than weather. It is a companion, one that comforts not with words, but with stillness. The presence of fog naturally reduces what we hear, filtering sound, softening it, like white noise for the soul. And white noise, that steady hush of the world, is known to soothe the mind. It masks jarring sounds, creates continuity, and invites the brain to slow its patterns. Fog does this too. It changes the sensory environment, not just what we see or hear, but how we feel. The lack of sharp detail calms the eyes. The closeness of the mist creates a sense of cocooning, like being held by the atmosphere itself. For those who sleep lightly, or those whose thoughts take too long to settle, fog becomes a kind of lullaby. Even indoors, you can sense it. The air grows thicker, cooler. The windows blur. The lights outside dim to halos, and you feel protected, as if the outside world has agreed to hush for a while and wait. For centuries, people have fallen asleep to the sound of rain, to the whisper of leaves, to the far-off call of a foghorn echoing through the mist. These are not distractions. They are reassurances, soft cues that say, you are safe, You are still, you may drift now. Fog slows the world to the pace of sleep, and in doing so, it becomes more than meteorology. It becomes a kind of medicine. So tonight, whether the air is clear or not, imagine the fog. Let it move through your thoughts. Let it wrap your worries in mist and carry them gently out of reach. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to not see. You are allowed to sleep in fog's embrace. Let us drift now into the past, not with urgency, but with wonder. There have been fogs in history so dense, so long-lasting, that they became part of our stories. Not disasters, not warnings, but tales, told in hushed tones of days when the world became cloud. One of the most famous is the London fog, often called pea soup for its thick yellow-green hue. It wasn't just water vapour, but a blend of fog and smoke, smog, that settled over the city for days at a time. In December of 1952, a dense fog cloaked London for 5 days. The air was heavy with coal smoke, the wind still, the skies low. People moved slowly through the streets, lanterns glowing like suns in the gloom. Buses stopped, theatres closed, and the river faded into grey silence. Though the Great Smog is remembered for its impact, we, in this sleepy hour, focus on its atmosphere, the way fog took a city and turned it into a soft, soundless poem. Elsewhere, there were other strange fogs. In San Francisco, fog arrives with such frequency that locals have named it Carl, a familiar friend who rolls in over the Golden Gate Bridge, turning traffic into mist and coastlines into watercolour. In Newfoundland, mariners once spoke of fog so thick you could hear the sea but not see your own ship's bow. They would stand on deck with eyes closed, listening, letting the air guide them like a quiet compass. And in valleys of the Po River in Italy, fogs once lasted for days in winter. Children played in it. Lamps glowed warmly through it. Life continued, not through the fog, but within it. These events weren't just weather. They were chapters, moments when the atmosphere touched the ground and asked the world to move slower. No one rushed, no one shouted. People simply adapted, lighting candles, walking arm in arm, letting the fogs settle in their stories. So tonight, as you fall into sleep, imagine yourself in one of those fog-laced days, a lamp in your hand, a scarf around your neck, and the world around you soft, strange, and quietly beautiful. Even history has its haze, and in that haze, we find peace. There is something in fog that feels like a memory, not a sharp one, not precise, but a memory nonetheless, faded at the edges, soft in the middle, full of warmth. Why does fog bring this feeling? Perhaps it's the way it blurs the world, much like time does. Landmarks lose detail. The future and past feel equally distant. And we, in the middle, feel still. Fog invites reflection. When you walk through it, you are surrounded, but not overwhelmed. The silence creates a space where thoughts drift gently, without pressure. For many, fog reminds them of early mornings, waiting for school buses, of train rides through quiet hills, of walking hand in hand with someone now long gone. It holds emotion, but not sadness, more like tenderness, a nudge from the past. The mind loves symbols, and fog becomes one, for what is hidden, what is remembered imperfectly, what is meaningful without needing clarity. Writers have used fog to express longing, painters to express mystery, but for many of us, it simply evokes the feeling of standing on the edge of something, remembered but not quite grasped. Even the scent of fog, earthy, woody, wet, can awaken a sense of déjà vu. A quiet moment from years ago, rising like mist on a forest path. In dreams, We often see fog because dreams, like memory, do not need to explain themselves. They only need to be felt. Fog slows the world so we can catch up to it. It holds space so memory can move in. So tonight, as you breathe and settle, let yourself remember, not clearly, but gently. Let your mind drift back to a foggy morning, a quiet window, a time when the world was muffled and your thoughts were safe. Not everything must be known. Not every memory needs to be finished. Some things are meant to stay soft, like fog, like dreams, like the past seen from a peaceful distance. Above the clouds, where sky meets sky, pilots fly not with sight alone, but with trust. When fog rises, when clouds surround, the world becomes white, a soft, endless field of floating stillness. This is where fog becomes sky fog, not just near the ground, but suspended in air, where planes soar. From the cockpit, the view may disappear. No horizon, no sun, only mist all around, a white nothingness that is not frightening, but deeply quiet. So how do pilots fly in fog? They turn inward, to instruments, altimeter, airspeed, compass, artificial horizon. Each dial and screen a voice of calm reason, telling the pilot exactly where they are, how fast they move, what angle they hold. It is called Instrument Flight Rules, or IFR, a gentle agreement between sky and science. To fly in fog is to trust data, patterns, training, to believe in something beyond what the eyes can see. Because in fog, the senses can deceive. Without a visible horizon, the body may feel tilted, though the wings are level. So pilots learn to listen more than look, to feel through knowledge, not instinct. There is a certain peace in this. A flight through fog is a meditation in motion, a journey through silence, lit only by dashboard glow, guided by invisible hands. Outside, the world may vanish. Inside, it is held. Even takeoffs and landings in dense fog are managed with calm. Runway lights shine like stars through the mist. Airport radar guides every gentle descent. And the plane itself, soaring through cloud banks, moves like a whisper, its path clear though its view is not. This, too, is a kind of sleep story. To fly through fog is to surrender to the rhythm of trust, precision, and peace. So, as you close your eyes tonight, imagine yourself in the cockpit, wrapped in soft cloud, all systems steady, all readings true. You are flying through quiet white skies, guided not by sight, but by knowing, and you are exactly where you need to be. There are days when the world outside is clear, but the world within feels blurred. We call it mental fog, a kind of stillness, a soft slowness of thought. But let us not treat this fog as failure. Let us treat it as rest. Like the fog that wraps the earth in mourning, mental fog does not rush. It settles in when we've carried too much, or moved too fast, or simply need a pause. The mind, like the sky, cannot always be clear, and that is okay. On foggy mornings, the world feels smaller, but not worse, just closer, more intimate. You notice things, the way steam curls from a mug, the hush in the street, the weight of a blanket, still heavy with dreams. Mental fog is the same. It asks you to slow, to stop pushing, to let your thoughts float without direction. You may forget words. You may start a sentence and let it trail off. You may find that even small decisions feel like distant things. This is not brokenness. It is a boundary, a signal from within that says, "Let me drift." And in this drift, there is softness. In this pause, there is healing. The mind, just like the weather, moves in patterns. Clear days, cloudy days, and yes, foggy days too. Mental fog may come with fatigue or grief, or nothing at all. And still, it has a place. Just as fog brings dew to the leaves, mental fog brings us back to stillness. It invites us to do less, expect less, and simply be. So tonight, if your mind feels unclear, let it be. Let your thoughts move like mist, not needing answers, not seeking structure. You are allowed to be slow, to be quiet, to be in between. Mental fog is not a problem to solve. It is a cloud to rest inside. And when the time is right, like the sun rising gently, clarity will return, not all at once, but as a slow unveiling. For now, let the fog stay. Let it protect you. Let it soften the sharp edges of the day. Your mind, even in haze, is still yours. And it is still beautiful. Fog may feel rare, an occasional visitor, a seasonal guest. But in truth, there are places where fog lives almost every day. We call these fog hotspots, lands where mist isn't an exception, but a rhythm. Let us drift now from coast to coast, peak to peak, and find the places where fog stays close to the skin of the earth. We begin in California, along the Pacific shoreline. Here, the famous marine layer rolls inland. In early mornings, blanketing cliffs and vineyards, softening the skyline of San Francisco. Locals even name the fog Carl, a familiar and frequent friend. Travel farther north to the Pacific Northwest, where redwood forests thrive in fog-fed stillness. The trees drink directly from the mist, their branches heavy with droplets that never fell as rain. Cross the sea to Chile and Peru, where the cold Benguela current breathes fog inland into the Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth. And yet, fog brings life to its dunes. Venture into Namibia, along Africa's southwestern coast, where the desert meets ocean air. There, a white veil settles over rust-coloured sand, and beetles wait patiently to drink the sky. In the British Isles, fog is part of language and landscape, rolling across moors, settling in valleys, hugging harbours with familiar dampness. A foggy morning is not rare, but expected, a muse for poets, a companion to still tea. Journey to the Andes Mountains, and you'll find high cloud forests, where fog is the atmosphere itself. Moisture curls through moss-covered trees, feeding orchids and ferns. Here, the fog does not arrive, it stays. In Bangladesh, along river deltas, and in India's Himalayan foothills, dense fog swirls through winter months, held in valleys, softening the calls of morning birds and muffling temple bells. Even in the Arctic, fog rises above cold seas, where warm air brushes frigid waters. There, it floats like a pale breath over ice and silence. Fog knows no one home. It travels, it settles, it gathers where air and moisture dance just right. So tonight, as you rest, imagine yourself floating from one fog-bound land to another, your dreams carried across ocean and mountain, wrapped in the silver hush of the world's quietest places. The fog is not gone. It is simply elsewhere, softening another corner of this round, breathing earth. And now we come to the final chapter. Not an ending, but a quiet farewell. The fog, like all gentle things, must eventually lift. The sun rises, its warmth begins to stir the air. The mist thins, retreating from windows, rising from meadows, letting colours return one shape at a time. But it doesn't vanish all at once. It fades, softly, patiently, like a lullaby coming to its final notes. You may step outside and watch the outlines reappear. A treetop, a garden gate, the distant ridge of hills now clear in the morning light. The world is back, visible, awake, but something of the fog remains. On the leaves, dewdrops, like memories, still glistening. In the mind, a slowness, a hush, a gentleness carried into the day. Fog teaches us that beauty does not always last, but it always returns. There will be other mornings, other veils, other silences made visible. And in your heart, there is always a quiet place that holds the mist. Even now, as this story closes, you are not leaving the fog. You are simply carrying it with you. The softness, the breath, the stillness that asks nothing but presence. So let us say goodbye, not with sadness, but with gratitude. Thank you to the drifting grey, to the glow of lamps in the mist, to the softened footsteps, the blurred horizons, the nights wrapped in silence. Thank you to the fog for its quiet company, and thank you to you for walking with it, for resting in it, for dreaming through it. Now, let the fog lift, let the light return, let the day begin. But always remember, somewhere, out there, the fog waits, and it will return just as softly as before. And as our journey winds down, as the last wisps of mist curl around the edge of thought, I hope these quiet, drifting facts brought a little peace to your evening. Just like fog rolls gently over hills and harbours, may these words have settled softly into your night, filling the spaces between wakefulness and rest. May the gentle hush of fog stay with you, like a soft blanket over your thoughts, a silver veil across your mind, cooling the day's warmth, easing its edges and wrapping you in a breath of calm. If you'd like to support these sleepy weather stories, feel free to like or subscribe, but only if it feels right. There's no pressure here, only permission to rest. You can rest now. There's nothing more you need to plan, nothing more to understand. Let go and float. Snuggle in, feel the covers like fog over the ground, and let the mist carry your thoughts softly into sleep. Good night. Peaceful dreams, calm skies to you, always.